I said GalaxyCon, how are we? All right, I know it's a wet Sunday, it's a Saturday morning out there. How many of you, this is your second day here? Yeah, so I get it. We all had late nights last night, but our guest here is the perfect...
Don't make excuses for people.
I'm not making excuses, because I feel the same way.
Oh, you do?
I do, but our guest...
You know what I have to do, though, man? What? Hold on a second. Couple of things. First of all, would you guys mind moving up? Like, kind of like in these seats here? So that we're like kind of all together. So it gives the illusion that we're all excited to see me. No, it's an illusion. I understand that. But if you just might, thank you so much. Just to kind of a little bit, yeah. I like being told what to do. I know people don't like being told what to do. Don't tell people what to do. Right, Milo?
Right.
You remember that this is what this is like, right?
100%.
I'm going to do something else weird, too.
Okay, oh boy.
Can we go down off the stage?
All right.
Let's get off this stage.
You want to sit on the edge?
No, I don't even need to sit. I'll stand. I'll stand, man. I'm a big guy. I need the exercise, all that. See, we're still in contact, even though, isn't this wonderful?
Pay no attention
I can be in contact with a room full of people without actually...
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
The man behind the curtain, yes.
Or the dog behind the curtain.
All right. I'm here with you. Okay, I guess I will sit here for a moment.
All right.
Oh, this is exciting. Isn't this great? Whatever it is.
So, everybody put your hands together for the voice of Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Right, don't put
Marty
Grabstein. It's enough already. We're not trying to get blood out of a stone. We're just trying to connect with each other, right? That's really why we're all here. Is that why we're all here? It's because there was a panel. He said, oh, he's got a panel. We'll go see it. It's nice. All right, let's still come. I'm sitting next to you.
All right, fantastic. Right by the monitor, so I get to hear myself talk. So now I know what you guys feel.
All right, how about this? Better?
Marty,
by the end of this panel, we'll have it all figured out, Milo.
No.
All right, talk to me.
So the last time we hung out was in Vegas.
Vegas, that's right.
That was a lot of fun. You took home some. You were able to take home some Courage the Cowardly Dog. I don't want to call them Jesus candles, but that's what they are.
The spiritual.
The spiritual candles, yes.
It's kind of like a priest-like or
right.
Sort of candles of that nature.
Right, absolutely.
A semi-Christian underpinning for the Jewish Courage the Cowardly Dog, which is a beautiful thing because we're all under the same auspices anyway. I always say Jesus was a Jew, right? Absolutely. Jesus was a Jew. And he didn't die a Christian, he died a Jew! All right, maybe that's enough of that. Okay.
Welcome.
I'm getting a lot of trouble for after this.
So, along those same, as you're talking, how many people are surprised that when they come talk to you that they're like, oh, you are Courage, like you're not doing a character, you weren't doing a character that was genuinely you, and that was your voice coming through.
78 RPM. Yes, it was me on 7. They switched the control. Do you know 78 RPM? You know what I'm talking about? Look at the blank looks.
There's zero.
There used to be a thing called record albums, or records period. And what would happen is that the records would have, they have like a record player, right? And there'd be 4 different controls. Now, 33 and a third. Some of you might remember 33 and a third RPM, revolutions per minute on the thing. We're going to talk about this for the remainder of the event. Courage stuff. We're talking about records, darn it. Damn it.
Darn it.
Damn it,
We're recording.
Bostwick is here, by the way.
He is.
Let me promote Barry Bostwick while we're at it. Yeah.
Marty, use your mic. We're recording.
Oh, we're recording. We're recording.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was not using it. Okay. You think they're going to get it anyway?
Yes. 33
RPM. We're going to finish this, and then we'll get to... So 30... This is frightening in a way, right? This is called tanking with style. All right. Anyway, so 33 RPM is what most record albums were, and then there was 45s for the singles. You know, they're smaller. They go 45 RPM. But there was a control called 78 years ago. Before the 33, there was 78s, and everything was on a 78. Very thick 78 RPMs. And there was also 16. Now, I don't, 16 2/3. To this day, I can't figure out how that ever happened or why it was there. So that's your job in the future, to find out why it was at 16 2/3. Thank you very much, folks, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to see.
I believe that was so you could listen to the hidden messages on the Carpenters albums, right?
Oh, yes, exactly. On the Carpenters album.
Well, you know.
Carpenters album? Or the Beatles album?
Or Ozzy, or...
Ozzy Osbourne, yeah, okay, yeah.
I think it's just funnier if you say the Carpenters album.
All right, what are we talking about records for? Come on, courage discussions.
We need
All right.
Records are on their way back. Does anybody here actually have vinyl? Yeah, records are on their way. Yeah.
I'm happy to hear this. Happy to hear it. Yeah, I know that it's going that way.
Yeah, we need a Courage soundtrack on vinyl.
Being worked on.
Right. Speaking of plastic.
It's being worked on, the Courage soundtrack. You heard it first here. This is honestly, I'm telling you.
Is this a true thing?
This is a true thing. It is in the works. Jody Gray and Andy Ezra, the people that created the music, did all the music for Courage, are in the process of designing and putting together, along with John Dilworth, a Courage soundtrack. It's being worked on. That's all I can tell you. Don't say that nobody's going to tell you anything more than that. And most people don't even know that that's happening. So God bless, right? It's a good thing. Honestly, it really is in the works. So
the recording right here. So you're going to get all the TikTok views. All the
Fine.
Instagram reel views.
What's wrong with that? Well, John Dilworth is going to be. I'm going to be in trouble with Dilworth. Jody will be okay. John is good. Why did you say that? Okay, maybe I got to stop that now.
But speaking of plastic, you are also a Funko Pop.
Yes, I am. I have a Funko Pop, and I have some at my table. Shameless self-promotion. And yes. So yes, did you have a question about that?
Yeah, I mean that's amazing. So the last time we talked, you didn't.
No.
So between then and now, so did you hear anything about that, or did you happen to see it online or in a store and was like, wait a minute?
All of a sudden, Funko announced that there's going to be a Courage Funko Pop, and pre-orders were being taken, and it was like, wow, this is really cool, man. This is really, really cool. So I was very excited by that. And so, I'm seeing people are coming, and, it's like, it's a cool thing. It sort of legitimizes you. And, I more than most needed legitimizing, whatever that means exactly.
Now, along with, Funko Pops and spiritual candles, do you have a lot of memorabilia and things like that, cells or anything like that at home?
Not really, no. I have a few little things. I have like a couple of those giveaways that McDonald's, I think it was, Subway did with the little, plastic giveaways. Don't worry, come on in, it's okay. Sit a little closer, though, right over here, if you don't mind.
Come on.
Oh, look at all these people. Oh, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it? So yes, I have that. I have a little Courage beanbag thing, which like you press it and you hear the sound of my voice on it. I have keychains and all that stuff. But is that what people want? What do people want? People want Q&A, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, you tell me what people want.
I think so. If you do have any questions, since this is an intimate environment, come on up. Again, we are recording, so please talk into the mic and ask your questions. Come up at any time you feel like it.
You don't mind that I steered that?
Not at all.
I'm just steering it. I love you, Milo.
I love you.
Come on, give me a little bit of this. Come on. You know I love you, man. All right. See, there's love afoot.
So yesterday I do have to say, I was on this stage with Brian O'Halloran, your table neighbor out there on the floor.
Love him, yeah. Great guy.
And he mentioned that you two may have gotten into a contest to see who could be louder.
Yes, that was great. Did we get? I think we got. You got that on? You got a little footage of me and Brian. That was great. That was just terrific. Yeah, and he was louder than me. He was, which was nice to see. Yes.
Finally.
So who has a question? Whatever it is. All right, man. How are you?
I'm fine. Me being a fan of Courage the Cowardly Dog when I was young, and seeing many parodies on the internet, especially with one of the famous YouTubers, Markiplier, who did a Let's Play of the fan game of Courage. How do you feel about Markiplier? Like, have you
About
watched
who?
his Markiplier, Mark Fitzpatrick? Have you watched his channel? Because he does a lot of that stuff.
I don't know the guy. I never even heard of the guy. I'm not very much in touch with what's going on in the world, actually, when it comes to the internet and stuff like that. So you're telling me now that you're telling me, so what is it? They do send-ups and, right? They talk about it, right?
Yeah.
And it's so that I can talk about that in general. I think it's fantastic because it like keeps the mythology of the character and the show alive. That there are people wanting to talk about it and say things, right? It's a cool thing, right?
Absolutely.
And so I can't say about that specific guy, but I can say that in general, I love that goes on. And like, for instance, that people say, oh, there's a theory about Courage, that actually took place in all of that stuff takes place in the dog's mind, and he doesn't really, all of that. And I'm saying, great. Or did you know the Courage actually it was based on a real place? And it's like, great, I love it. I have no idea if it's true or not. Some of it's true, some of it's not. Who cares if it's true? It just keeps the talking alive. It's great. So that's my answer to you.
So you're telling me the guy that went on a 3-minute rant on record players isn't up to date on technology?
God bless you, man. That was good. I deserve that. And from Milo, I particularly appreciate that. Yes.
Hello, what's your name?
Hello, my name is Shayla. I came a little late, so hopefully no one didn't ask the same question I'm about to ask. But
okay.
I just wanted to say, which villain do you think is the scariest out of all of them? And there's a lot, obviously.
Well, which villain do I think is the scariest?
Yes.
Or not which villain that I like the most, but the scariest.
Let's see
I mean, for me, the scariest one was definitely Freaky Fred.
Yeah, that was a scary one.
Because it's not just that he, was like in a way, almost not supernatural, but actually just this frighteningly abusive creature, who spoke so nicely, So it was kind of like, I found that particularly disturbing. Almost like you could feel it under your skin almost, like, ugh. So yeah, that's my.
He's mine too. Thank you.
I was gonna say.
All right.
Hello, what's your name?
Luigi.
Hey, my name is Jack. I got a couple of questions. One,
Jack sneaks in 2 questions. Because he did it with authority. That's why.
Yeah.
All right.
My first question is, I know you've done a lot of episodes for Courage the Cowardly Dog. Which one was your favorite episode?
Oh, my favorite episode? My favorite episode, this is what you should have been asking me, mister. The heck, which one is your favorite episode? That is 33 RPM. What kind of nonsense talking about records during a Courage interview? My favorite episode. I actually have 4 favorite episodes, actually. Hard for me to nail it down to one. I'm going to give you 4. Okay. Number 1 is certainly Freaky Fred. We talked about that.
Okay.
Another one is King Ramses' Curse.
Oh, cool.
Right? Everybody loves that one. That's probably the fan favorite is King Ramses' Curse. I also had a particular affection for The Hunchback of Nowhere.
Oh, okay.
It was touching, very touching, But for me, if you had to nail me down, I would have to say my absolute favorite was the first one, The Shadow of Courage, because it was the first episode. So for me, it was like magic to walk in and do that. So whenever I see that, I'm like reminded of that. I came into this incredible universe that continues to have dividends up until this very day, financially and emotionally.
Cool.
And so all of that, I think about that. It makes me happy to see the first episode.
Okay,
Next question.
That's good to hear. I know that you said one of your favorite episodes is King Ramses. I bet you remember that line where Ramses says, "Return the slab."
Wait, is that part of the first question, or is that the?
That's the second question.
The second question is, do that thing.
No. I said, "Return the slab."
So you want me to do that?
No. I was just doing my impression.
You just wanted to do it.
Yes.
So that's not really a question. It was more that you wanted to participate.
Yeah.
You wanted to have a moment with us.
Yeah.
All right. How about that, huh? Return the slab. God bless you, man.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you for that, honestly. So thank you for the question and for the participation. All right, man.
So along the same lines as your favorite episodes, so Watch, do you have a favorite episode that you, besides the first, that was a lot of fun
doing?
Yeah, doing.
Interesting. The episode that I found most fun other than the first one, was the one with the Valkyries. The march at the, because it was the opera singers, and I remember usually we didn't record together, and we didn't record together, but I remember coming in early and hearing those people do the music, do the song, and do the acting for it, and I just thought it was really, really funny. So I found that a lot of fun in that respect. Yeah.
Hello, what's your name?
Hey, I'm Daniel. Longtime fan. This is so cool.
Thank you.
And now I actually have two, because the first one's now based on that. When you were coming in separate, that episode where they go like on the riverboat cruise, and they end up finding that monster that sings Carmen for some reason.
Oh.
Did you ever hear that get recorded?
Do I even remember that one? Honestly, so you're asking me about that particular one?
Yeah, just
I
based
don't even.
on what you said about them coming in separately, and you heard like the.
I don't remember that episode. There are some that I think I never saw. Actually, never watched, never saw. Which is, I tried to see as many of them. It's 103 cartoons, so. I saw probably about 40 or 50 of them, which I feel is pretty darn due diligence. But you would think I would have seen all of them because I did record them. But sometimes there's so many and it just goes, so I just never got around to them. But now you made me feel guilty about not knowing that, so I have to watch. I think I may have to binge watch. Everybody comes up to me, I binge watch. Why shouldn't I binge watch? I don't know if I might be nauseated with the sound of my own voice for 103 cartoons.
That's what I was going to ask. When you watch an episode, when you're watching, you go, oh man, like I could have done that better, or
oh, absolutely. But that's always the case when I do on-camera work and stuff, and that's a general acting note. Generally I do watch my own thing, and I am, when I've done well, and I feel like I usually do well, I will watch it and go, that was good, I did good. But I can see like, man, that was okay. Because they let it go. In other words, if they let it go, it wasn't terrible. But I could have done that better. Absolutely, that's often the case, yes.
And then my other question was, what was it like going in and doing the lines? Because there was this interview with Phil Lamar one time where he's like, oh, it's great being Samurai Jack. I come in, I do 2 lines, I'm done for the day, I get my paycheck. And so much of Courage is, obviously there's all the screaming, a lot of screaming.
A lot of all that stuff.
And the occasionally, the things I do for love.
Yeah. All the things I do for love.
Thank you.
You got that on the recording, right?
we got that. Yep.
33. 16. All right, go ahead.
You know, so it's a lot of, you know, obviously just sounds are very short lines. I mean, what was it like coming in and doing the recording? Was it a lot of takes? Did it take a lot of time out of the day, or was it one of those, cool, I'm in, I'm out, paycheck?
No, I got to say more like Phil Lamar, but I don't want to simplify it that deeply, because there were times it did take. I didn't come in and do 2 lines and collect a paycheck. I did actually have to, you know, do numerous takes in certain situations, because, you know, within the subtleties of those sounds, they really tried to get it like not generic. Not general, oh yeah, that sounds, it's more that we want it to sound as good as it possibly could. And so to the credit of Peter Fernandez, who was my vocal director, and John Dilworth, they didn't just settle to, all right, he's got it, you know, they actually did work. So I actually was happy about that, because I myself would want to do more takes. I would think, you know what, let me give it another try, you know, because you want to get it, like it's a chance to get it as good as you can, and certainly I would want to get it as good as I can, and not, so yes, it did take some time, but overall it did not. I would say it took me to record 2 cartoons, would take me about, I want to say about 3 hours, you know, of my day, which is, you know, with breaks and all that stuff. So it's not bad at all, you know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So as you do the sounds, you do the stutter. So what do those sounds and stumbles and stutters look like on a page, on a script?
Oh, very good. So it had originally, I mean, they did some weird in the very first one, where they said he does a lot of, he's nervous, frustrated, trying to exclaim this and that, but then ultimately they basically said courage babble, because they knew what that meant, and I knew what that meant. So it was there for me, the vocal script, for me to read, courage babble. I believe it does say it in the first episode, though, which I actually have that script on my table. Shameless self-promotion once again. Of the first episode, so you could, even if you don't want to get it, feel free to look at it, and you'll see maybe in there it might actually say courage babble, you know. But yeah, it's got, and then sometimes it would be like, you know, like that kind of a thing, or you know, it was very, yeah, they would try to print it. At first it went, they would actually write those out, but it's much better to do, how do you write that out? So you don't, you say courage babble. There you go.
Hello, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Denise.
Hi, Denise.
Hi, you actually just answered my question. I was gonna say, when you first said, and I quote, was that straight from your mind, or did anyone veer you in that direction?
How can anybody veer me in that direction? Right? How do you veer? Like, who's gonna, oh, hey, Marty, do this. No, actually, the way, and so funny you said that earlier today, that myself as a person, that I am that character, but on 33 RPM. So, you know, instead of 78. So I am that character, because when I'm talking a lot of the time, well, you know, I just, you know, I'll do that, all those exclamations naturally, and that brought that into the character. And, you know, it's so funny, people say, well, how did you base the character on? And just recently, I swear, just recently, it came to me. An older Jewish woman, my mother, actually, from New York. Because all the things I do for love. I mean, and when people imitate me, it sounds like they're doing my mother. So I think that's what it is. Yeah. Now you can get it on TikTok, my friend. Put her on she's the TikTok.
Yep, absolutely.
The TikTok police.
The TikTok police.
All right. Oh yes, hi. How are you? So yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hold on, let's see this. Let's see this this hoodie here. All right, I think I think I might know where this question is going to go. Can you turn it? Can you show everybody your hoodie, your sweater? All right, I think I know where this one's going to go.
Okay, hopefully
All right,
you're right.
all right.
Then it might be awkward for you if you guess wrong.
So hello, what's your name? What's your question?
Hi, my name's Cannon. Pleasure to meet you, sir. Good
You
to meet
too.
you too as well. Why not?
He's a good guy, Milo, right?
Hey, he's not bad. He's okay.
He's willing to.
Not bad.
He's willing to go out on
That's
a
on
limb.
my resume. Not bad. It's on my LinkedIn.
He's willing to go out on a limb for his, for his art. And then ultimately, and if he gets it wrong, hey, you got to get some things wrong
That's right.
in order to get things right.
That's right.
Tanking with style.
Right, Gary? Hey, right?
So you may have answered my question already, but I'm just going to ask it.
Ask it anyway.
So courage is fearful babbling. You said that the inspiration was kind of just yourself. How long until you molded and perfected it? Was it pretty quick?
Right away.
Right.
Honestly, it was immediately.
You just be yourself, and that's
Because they liked it. In other words, I did it, and they said, "Oh, that's great." That's it. When somebody says that's great, I'm gonna stay with that.
keep
Because
going.
God forbid I do another thing and it's not great. So I want to hold on to what's great. When they get great, as Brad Pitt said in Moneyball, when you get the answer you want, hang up the phone. Because they started to say something else on the phone. And go, no, when you hung up, he had something more to say. No, when you get the answer you want, hang up the phone. I don't know what that has to do with this discussion, but I wanted to bring up Brad Pitt in my life because it's, right?
Every panel
Okay.
will bring up Brad Pitt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Hold on, but before you go,
Yes.
you are wearing a Scooby-Doo hoodie.
All right, I am.
So I will transition. So, Marty, can you tell us about how Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog came about?
Well,
And do you happen to have any of those Blu-rays or DVDs at your table?
I have them at my table. I have them at my table. Did you see the movie?
I haven't, no sir.
Did you even know what happened?
I did.
A lot of people didn't know, though, right? How many people knew that there was a crossover that was released about a year and a half ago? Okay, I'm glad to actually see that because I think it's starting now. You're finding, did you found out about it like within the last 6 months? Or when it first happened?
Sounds like a lot of first happens. On the last September? Or September 21.
21, that's
September
right.
2021.
That's right, yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that because I felt that they didn't do a great job of promoting it personally, But I loved doing that, and how cool was it that there was a Courage Scooby crossover, and that there was like new Courage the Cowardly Dog stuff. I was really happy to do that, to get a chance to revisit this character. And I feel they really honored Courage in the film. They honored the Courage universe in that it took place in nowhere, right? Which is in Courage's universe. I thought that was really kind of cool, So,
Yeah. Thanks, sir. Thank
you're
you.
welcome.
Hello. What's your name?
I'm taking this off. Desiree.
Hi, Desiree.
By the way, no pressure, but you have a ton of cameras on you behind you.
Yes.
Just to let you know.
So when you went into Courage the Cowardly Dog, did you ever think going into the show that it would become a Cartoon Network classic cartoon?
Absolutely not. No way. First of all, how could I? I was just so tickled to have the work as an actor, to be doing that and to be able to create the lead character of a cartoon series. And it was like, oh my God, how wonderful. I couldn't think ahead. I didn't think ahead to what what it was going to be like. I figured they'd be showing it and I'd get residuals, and that was nice. But beyond that, I had no idea that somebody would ask me the question that it became a Cartoon Network classic, much less that people would be, that a GalaxyCon would be paying my airfare and my hotel and per diem to have me appear at their convention. So for me, I couldn't have possibly known that was going to happen. But it is such an amazing thing for me. I never hesitate or never, fail to acknowledge how fortunate I feel, for that reality,
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Hello. What's your name?
Hi, my name's Laura. So I guess my question is, so I know a lot of the episodes, most of them were kind of a mix of creepy and funny episodes, but then there were those really touching ones, like you mentioned with the Hunchback episode.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm wondering, is there anything kind of different that you do to prepare for the more touching ones, or is there any difference between the way you kind of, do the more emotional episodes compared to the creepy, funny episodes?
Well, now, that's a good question. It really depends on which touching ones we're talking about, because in the case of the Hunchback of Nowhere, that was, I believe, in the first season. Am I correct? I think it was in the first season, right? So we all know, I mean, maybe we don't all know, but maybe we don't know that it was just first season, but in the first season, Courage had a lot more lines, like said more words, not that he was, Gettysburg Address or anything, but, those things that people come to me and ask me to do here, right? I have a feeling something bad is going to happen, or I'll save you, those things, right? He had a lot of that. So I know with the Hunchback of Nowhere, there was that's okay, you're my friend, or something like that, right? Because Courage was frightened, and then he met somebody who was on the outskirts, and they played together, and it was very sweet. So yeah, in that case, I was able to the actor in me was able to utilize the touching nature of it to make this, to create this. That more than part of the reason why I do like it, because it was that chance to do that. But once they decided to go with him having less words, and the reasoning behind that is rather curious. I think a lot of it, the way they gave it to me, I mean, nobody was saying they didn't like my performance of it, but just that they were, they listened to focus groups, and in the focus groups, they were kind of like watching people's reactions, and people had much bigger laughter and response to the, screams and the Courage babble and all of that stuff, and all of those things, the nonverbal stuff, the action stuff. So they kind of made that leap to say, well, maybe we should do less of this stuff and put more of that stuff in, which, there is a weird logic to that, but actually I maintain to this very day, not just because it's me, that those lines help to create the pathos and, as people would say in today's world, relatability of Courage. So much so, even that when they cut out most of his lines, every once in a while you'd still hear Muriel or whatever, or you would actually hear him say 1, 2, 3, which are words. They would, out of nowhere, he would say words, but not too often. So it was always this weird thing: does Courage talk? Does he not talk? And why is he? To the very day, it's still like a very curious thing. But the bottom line is, without that early relatability, I don't know that I would have been able to coast as much on just the sounds themselves. So I wonder if that first season made them fall in love with, you can answer those questions, made you fall in love with that character who did a lot of screaming and vocal histrionics, but at the same time had words to say, so that when the words stopped, you already were in love with the character, and they kept that love going with those modifications. Kind of an interesting thing, in that respect. But yes, as far as the touching stuff, probably in general, not much difference. Mostly I would approach it the same way. Why? Because he was a character that, had kind of his emotions on his sleeve anyway. Whether it was touching or not touching or scary or whatever, probably mostly the same,
Yeah, thank you. That's a great
You're welcome.
answer.
Thank you. Hello. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Destiny.
Destiny.
So I have a question. You kind of already answered. I know you were saying your favorite wholesome character seems to be the Hunchback of Nowhere, but something I noticed throughout a lot of the episodes that I really appreciate, there are characters who start off as villains, but by the end they kind of turn things around. So did you have a favorite villain that turned things around at the end that you maybe appreciated more, and why?
Well, it's funny you say that, because actually, going back to my love of the first episode, The Shadow of Courage, right? The Shadow was scary and frightening and just a shadow villain, you know, who then said, stop, you're making me crazy. And then he kind of started pouring his heart out to Courage about how he felt, and then Courage actually said he went up into the sky and became a part of the stars, and he goes, we're all stars, aren't we? You know, it was a very sweet thing, corny but really sweet, you know. So yeah, that for me, villain wise, of course, sits with me most, you know, that was possible. Do you have one?
Probably Dr. I think Zalos or Zalos.
Oh yeah, was that the 20-minute one, the 22-minute?
Yeah, it was like a two-parter kind of
Two-parter.
episode,
It was all one, right? It was the only time. By the way, that was their attempt. Dilworth had said this to me. His attempt to create what it might be like to have a longer version of Courage, and hopefully perhaps evolving into a movie at some point, which ironically happened 23 years later in the form of a crossover with Scooby-Doo. Had to share the spotlight there. But you know, it was actually that cool. Go ahead, Dr. Zalos, you were saying as far as him turning around. So what happened with him? I don't remember exactly.
So basically, if memory serves me correctly, he would kind of toss cannonballs. He just seemed so sad and angry at the world. So he would toss cannonballs into nowhere to make them sad. But I think Muriel's Happy Plums turned him into a better man and character at the end. And I guess just kind of relating to being sad and angry type of thing for me personally, I saw how somebody could turn it around. And I haven't watched it in a while, but as I watched that as an adult, I think I started crying at the end because I was like, I get it now as
There's
an adult.
hope.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's why, perhaps, one of the reasons why, besides being a fun show and like, funny and people love all the pathos, whatever it is, I think it has a deeper meaning, the show, at the risk of sounding too analytical. The idea that it's you know, a lot of people come to me, and I do have people that they start to cry a little bit. They start to tear up a little bit when they see me or when they meet up with me, or, you know, because they think of their childhood and they think of the pain and, you know, struggles of childhood, and they think of the anxiety that happens, you know, and then they think of Courage, and they look at Courage, and Courage was this terribly anxious being, who ultimately, you know, dredged up from his soul the ability to face his fears despite all the anxiety, and ultimately saved the world, kind of thing. And so that's a beautiful message for a young person. Beautiful message for all of us, actually, right?
Absolutely.
Right, Milo?
Absolutely.
Because you told me you were depressed the other day, right? Didn't you? You were struggling from serious depression?
For the sake of this panel, yes.
That
absolutely.
You're on medication, and that there's, you know, no, it's okay. Don't feel bad about letting everybody know. We talked about it.
We did talk about it.
It's full disclosure, man.
Deep conversation, yes.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. I love you. Thank you.
You know, Marty, you talk and hinted at, you know, the Courage soundtrack, and if on a good night, folks might see you here at GalaxyCon doing karaoke, and if they follow you on Instagram, they'll see you playing your guitar and singing. What, I can't sing, but I love music, but what about music really brings that, you know, what do you love about music?
I'm going to quote not Billy Zane, but Billy Crudup in Almost Famous. In a word, everything. At the end of Almost Famous, I don't know if you saw that movie. Great movie. But yes, music for me has always been a thing. You know, I mean, I learned to play guitar when I was 12 years old, and I, you know, always wanted, you know, I want to accompany myself singing. I wasn't thinking that I'm going to make a career out of going out there and, you know, being a rock and roll singer, or, you know, an artist with his guitar, you know, getting recording contracts. But I always knew that I could do well with it. I always knew that I did it well, and I enjoyed doing it and sharing it with anybody who would want to listen. So it means a lot to me, and it makes me feel really good that it is something I can do, that I do well, you know, and so I was, you know, just, it's fun for me to do it. Not because I, you know, certainly at this age. Do you think I still can get a recording contract? What do you think?
Absolutely.
You'll make it happen, Jennifer? What do you think? Recording contract? You will make it happen.
All right, so two-part question. One is going to be your go-to karaoke song, and then part two is going to be your go-to singing in the shower song, where it doesn't matter what you sound like, but man, that is the song that you really love the belt.
All right, you want to say go-to? I have a lot of go-to karaoke songs, but I guess it would be I Saw Her Standing There by the Beatles, right?
Absolutely.
Right?
It's a great one.
That's right. And I actually, there is footage somewhere in the cosmos, in the ether, of me doing I Saw Her Standing There. In the shower, I don't have a go-to. I might, you know what? In the shower, it might be If I Loved You from Carousel. A whole other world. Because in the, you know, it goes a little bit beyond my actual pay grade, but I enjoy doing that as well. But I don't necessarily want the whole world to see me singing If I Loved You. When I was a young whippersnapper trying to get into summer stocks, and when I got into summer stock, yes, I would sing that as an audition song. And now it would be unseemly on some level for me. A little unseemly. If I loved you time and again. You know what I mean? Nobody wants that. No, don't do that. Don't do that. You know you don't like what I just did. It was horrible. Come on.
We heard encore out there. So we have a couple minutes left. So before we go, I have to ask this question. It's my favorite question to ask.
Go ahead.
Again, you're next to Brian O'Halloran, who's, you know, a lot of fun. But at other conventions, at this convention, has there been somebody who you were sitting next to at a table, you saw in a green room, that you absolutely fanboyed out about? Either you saw them and you couldn't speak, or you talked to them and you spoke way too much?
Well, there's a lot of variables on that question. So, okay, was there any? Did I have to be next to them, or just anyone in the shows at all?
Yeah, next to a show where you were like, oh, there's no way I'm going to go talk to them.
No, it was never no way I'm going to, because my idea is, because I'm a celebrity, I put that, you know, I then get to utilize the illusion that I'm a big deal, and then I take that big deal and puff myself up and walk over to that person and say, you know, hey, I'm here at the same damn thing. You're getting autographs, I'm getting autographs. Let's do a picture together. Let's do something. And usually it works, you know. There are times when, well, whatever. But Richard Dreyfuss, that for me was an exciting thing for me. I probably fanboyed more with him than anybody else. And I do have video of it that my social media person, at some point, I will get it to her, and she will then be able to post it at some point.
That's fantastic.
Yes, because it's you know, it's some really good video of me with Richard Dreyfuss. Just what I did for him, and it was very exciting. I used to do a scene from a monologue from The Goodbye Girl that he did. A lot of you probably never saw The Goodbye Girl. I say a lot of blank stares, but anyway, it was I did a monologue, and it was about a minute monologue, right? And I used to utilize that because he was like my hero, because he was a character type guy that was a lead, that became a lead. It was when Dustin Hoffman started that you don't have to be, Cary Grant in order to be the lead in a big movie, so it was like the hope was alive that Richard Dreyfuss could do it, I could do it. So anyway, so I used to do that monologue. So when I saw Richard Dreyfuss and I was fanboying and I was on they took a video of it, I proceeded to then do some of the monologue to him. I said, oh, now you listen to me very, very carefully. Just listen to me, because that might be the last time that I ever talk to you. And I'm doing it to him as he did it, kind of then. And he was just sort of like, and I go, you don't need me to do the whole thing, do you? And he goes, you're right, I don't, actually. Yeah, but he was very good-spirited and very funny and really great, very warm, so.
That's great. So we got a couple minutes left, so...
We've had a couple of minutes left for a while. You know that?
Well, this is the
wrap up.
The wrap up. The cheap plugs. The go get your DVDs. The go get your Funko Pops.
Go ahead. Boy, I almost fell backwards. All right. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Do your cheap plugs.
You want me to do the cheap?
Yes. It's your panel.
You dropped me like a latke right in front of everybody. Cheap plugs, go ahead.
Cheap plugs, go.
So wait a second. What's this lady?
I have one question.
One more,
really quick.
Go ahead. No, it's okay.
Are you going to be at the karaoke tonight? There's a nonstop karaoke, and that might segue into plugs.
What time? 11:30.
It goes to 11:30, and where is it? In this room. Starts at 11:30. Well, if I still have energy left, what the hell am I doing? Walking around in circles? I may come. I don't know, but don't alert the media yet at this point. But anyway.
So will you be there?
Yeah.
Karaoke starts at 11:30 in this room. All right. Well, that's good for me to know. I might just feel the desire to.
Well, that's a good cheap plug too.
There you go. But anyway, So anyway, yes, it has been So now I do. It's been a pleasure,
yes,
right?
It's been a pleasure.
I say it's been a pleasure spending time with all of you, and I am going to be at the table, so feel free to come by, say hello. Funko Pops, all that lovely stuff. This is the cheap plugs, right?
Cheap plugs.
The Courage movies, the Courage scripts, all that nonsense. Also, just come by to say hi. If you don't want to do any of that stuff, just come by to say hi and connect, and we'll do it.
Marty Grabstein, everybody.